All right, let's talk about something that might sound a little strange at first. We usually think of sports as being good for our health, or maybe just a way to blow off some steam. But what if that weekly basketball game or your gym session was actually one of the biggest clues to whether or not you'll start your own business? Well, a really fascinating new study has found a powerful and honestly pretty unexpected link. So let's just think about this differently for a second. Stop thinking about exercise as just another bill to pay or a chore you have to get through. What if it's actually one of the smartest investments you can make in your professional life, specifically your future as an entrepreneur? That's the wild idea we're digging into today. And here's the headline number from the research that'll make you sit up. After looking at almost 200,000 observations over 2 whole decades, the study found that people who exercise regularly are anywhere from 12 to 36% more likely to become entrepreneurs than their more sedentary peers. That is a huge difference. Now, this is a really crucial point. When we hear sports and business, our minds immediately jump to superstars, right? Like Serena Williams or David Beckham, who turn their fame into these massive empires. But that's not what this study is about. Not at all. It's about everyday people. It's about us, the hobbyists, the amateurs, the people just hitting the gym or the park for a bit of fun. So you got to be asking, why? Why does this connection even exist? Well, it's not some kind of magic. The researchers have a really clear theory for how your physical hobbies can actually translate into you launching a business. So let's break down exactly how this whole thing works. The whole idea is built on something called the indirect effects model. And it's actually pretty simple when you think about it. The idea is that sports don't just, flip some kind of entrepreneur switch in your brain. No. Instead, they act like a training ground. They indirectly build up this collection of other things. We're talking skills, personality traits, and resources that are the absolute essential ingredients for starting a company. And this chart here shows that process perfectly. See, over on the left, you've got sports and exercise. Let's call that X. Now, it doesn't just draw a straight line over to Y, which is entrepreneurship. Instead, it has to go through that crucial box in the middle, the intermediary factors. So sports is the cause, but these factors, that's the real magic in the middle. And here they are. This is exactly what's in that middle box. We're talking about real-world labor skills, like the discipline to show up and the teamwork you learn on a court. We're talking about personal traits, like being more comfortable with risk and just being more competitive. Then there's social capital. I mean the network of potential partners or investors you might meet. And of course, it even gives a boost to your education and your overall health, which, let's be honest, you absolutely need to survive the grind of starting a business. Okay, but here's the thing. This isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. The research digs in and shows that the link between playing sports and starting a business is way stronger for certain groups of people. So let's see how this all shakes out when we look at gender and age. And the findings here are really, really distinct. For men, that entrepreneurial boost you get from sports, it's most powerful right in their prime working years, from about 31 to 50. But for women, well, that positive link is there at pretty much every stage of their working life. On top of that, it seems like a much wider range of sports and athletic activities gives women that entrepreneurial edge. And this all leads to a really important takeaway. While sports seem to help everyone, the data is pretty clear that they're an even more powerful predictor of entrepreneurship for women. It could be a really key factor in helping to close that gender gap in who starts businesses. All right, so we've established sports help, and they especially help women. But does it matter which sport you play? Can you just go for a walk, or do you need to be playing something more intense? Well, the answer is a definite yes. It matters. The study got really specific to see which activities have the strongest link to launching a business. So if you wanted to literally create a workout plan to build your entrepreneurial muscles, this would be it. Get this, the number one activity, the strongest predictor for both men and women across the board, was simply using exercise equipment. Yeah, just hitting the gym, using the weights, the treadmill, the elliptical. After that, racket sports like tennis showed a really strong link for women, and so did other athletic sports like jogging and skiing, especially for younger women. But, and this is a big but, not all exercise is created equal. While most of the things they looked at had a positive or, a neutral effect, the researchers found one super common activity that was actually negatively correlated with becoming an entrepreneur, at least for one group. And here it is. For men, just going for a pleasure walk was actually linked to a lower chance of starting a business. Isn't that wild? The study thinks it might be because this kind of low-intensity activity just isn't rigorous enough to build up those key factors we talked about, like competitiveness and resilience that you get from more demanding sports. So after all that, what does this actually mean for you and me? Well, it means we need to add another really powerful reason to that long list of why we should all try to stay active. It's not just for our bodies or our mental health anymore, it's for our careers too. The author of the study, Edgar Tovar, really just says it all with this quote. The evidence is so strong that we should officially think of entrepreneurship as one of the direct benefits of promoting sports and fitness. It's basically a tool for economic development. So let's just recap the hidden return on investment from your hobby. 1. Sports build real-world valuable professional skills. 2. Those skills directly up your odds of becoming an entrepreneur. 3. This whole effect is especially powerful for women and young adults. And finally, number 4, the type of sport you choose really, really does matter. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. This study was all about sports, sure, but it opens up a much bigger question for all of us. I mean, think about your own life. Whether it's playing chess or learning an instrument or maybe volunteering, what are the hidden professional skills your hobbies are building for you right now? It's definitely something worth thinking about.